Hi everyone, so I'm back. It's week 2 and this week we are going to be doing flowers. So as before, I have drawn out a little bit and kind of like I've decided I thought we could maybe like make a little wreath of flowers today, which I thought would be quite nice to sort of practice with. But sometimes when I'm actually painting flowers, I prefer to just use the brush. I don't always draw it out first. I find it's a little easier. So a couple of the brushes that I'm going to be using today are the size 10 and size 6 just to start off with, and then I have a few detail kind of smaller little brushes just to add the little bits like the kind of the middle part of the flower and kind of any sort of specks and stuff on the actual petal itself. So as I said, I've kind of drawn all that out. I've got a very noisy little boy in the background, very moody Arthur today, but yeah, I'm really happy that you're here, and I will just flip the camera around and show you kind of what I've already drawn if you can see it, and then we'll kind of get started with the class. So to start off with, I'm just going to mix up a sort of purple colour. So I've got a bit of blue in here and a bit of red. And yeah, I just want to kind of get like a sort of purple colour. I might add a little bit more red to this. Kind of want it to be a bit more sort of pinky purple. So yeah, that's looking a bit nice. They're sort of like more red. Reddy pinky. Might add some white now. So let's see how it goes. So maybe just a little touch more blue, I'm thinking. Ah, that's nice. Yes, we've got a nice little colour here. So as I said, I'm using the size 6 brush right here, and I am just going to show you sort of where I've drawn. So this one, I've sort of drawn this out a little bit like a pansy, I suppose is the shape of it, and I've got one here as well, and then I've also got, so just smooth that out, my little circle ready for the wreath in a little bit. But first of all, I think I will do this one. So as I said, most of the time when I'm doing flowers, I don't actually draw them out, but I thought I'd draw some today just to kind of show you guys. So we're just gonna sort of add this onto here. So today's class as well, we're going to learn a little bit about sort of layering kind of like your colours, and also sort of detail. So that's kind of what you can expect to learn from today's little session, little class. Like I said, sorry about the very noisy little cheeky boy in the background. He is up to mischief, as always. So you see how I'm moving the sort of paint around here. If you wanted to, you could get rid of this little blob, but I'm just pushing it towards the middle there. Just sort of spreading it around. A few artists that I follow, they say that it's like sort of like you're dancing almost with your paint, which I suppose it is. But yeah, it's just lovely to, like I said, add little bits. So I don't know if you can see in the drawing there, but I did do one of the petals way too small, so I'm going to make that way bigger when I actually paint it. So as I said like before in my first class, which I'll leave linked below, and apologies again about the technical issues that I had, but I'm going to post all of the videos now on my YouTube channel. Just think it'll be a little easier. They can be up there and sort of much easier for everybody to sort of access and stuff. So I've left a little bit in the middle because obviously that's where we're going to put the sort of the kind of, I can't even think what it's called, but the kind of centre of the flower, usually the sort of the yellow part. And we're going to leave that to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll just add in another layer and do a little bit. I'm going to do the other flower in a different colour. So back over here, I've already got these colours that I like to just kind of leave in my palette to sometimes mix up. Obviously, wash palette as and when you need to, but I think I'm going to go for sort of like an orangey colour now. So sort of yellowy orange, I was thinking. So here we go, and then we're going to just go across onto this one. Again, another one that I've drawn out, and we're just going to get this one sort of painted. But just see how I'm doing sort of like the nice strokes. So what's the good thing to do? It's all about sort of the pressure of the brush. So when you first start, you sort of want to push away and then sort of pull back and then kind of do that, almost like colouring, I suppose, with a paintbrush. And just checking Arthur, he's up to mischief in one of my cupboards back there. And yeah, like I said, you can sort of move the paint around a little if you wanted to and stuff. So you just sort of push, so see, gently and then harder. This is like how I do it when I'm doing the sort of pre-drawn out flowers. So again, we're going to just push and then push. See how it sort of flattens the brush down a bit. If you find that that's a little bit too wet, just dab your brush, like I said, on like your flannel or your kitchen roll, and then go back in with the brush, see, and then you can take away some of the paint that you had there before. So just get that last petal in. See how we've just got that going. Oh, also remember to join the group over on my Facebook page and share your creations. I would really love to see them. So we've got those two flowers there. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to basically draw a couple of flowers, paint a couple of flowers without drawing them first. So we'll just move down to here, and I think I'll do another little red one, already a sort of purple one. And as before, you just sort of grab the brush, and we're going to remember it's sort of like 5 petals basically. So any shape you want really. I mean, I've just gone for this sort of classic flower shape really. So I'm just going to move that paint around there. Next one in. A little bit more paint again. Oh, Arthur's up here moving everything. Oh, lovely boy. So again, I'm leaving the centre bit ready for the middle of the flower. So again, I'm just sort of following that same sort of similar shape as above. But like I said, I prefer when I'm doing flowers to not actually draw them. Oh dear, let me just check Arthur. Hang on, everyone. So we're back in to that first flower that we did. So I'm taking the sort of purpley, pinky red colour, whatever you really want to call it there. And like I said, we're going to go in and we're going to do a second layer. So we're just kind of going in. And as I said before in my first video, if you do make any errors, which I have just done there, that is fine. Most of the time, like I said, the errors actually end up looking like the best part of the flower. So again, I'm leaving the sort of centre part ready for the yellow colour, which we'll do later. So when I do flowers, I do find it's easy and better to do the petals separately rather than doing sort of like one solid fluid paint for a flower. You're definitely better off doing each petal separately. They tend to look nicer when it's dried as well that way. There we go, so that's our sort of second layer in. So you see how I'm grouping some of the paint to the middle. That's because I want the colour to be a little bit more prominent in the middle. But there we are, so that one's looking quite nice. We'll come back to that one again in a moment when we do the, we'll do each petal separately. If you wanted to, you don't even have to do 2 layers of paint on your flowers. You could just do one and then go in with the detail, but I thought for these two, I'll do 2 layers of colour just to make the flower sort of pop a little bit more. Got my husband here today, so he's actually grabbed Arthur, so hopefully we won't have too much more baby cries in the background, so I do apologise for that, but what can you do? Children are always around. But yeah, I'm loving this kind of yellow colour that I've chosen here. And so, as I said before, so remember your brush strokes, so you really want to sort of like almost kind of like start off really gently and then sort of spread it out but push down with it. I'll do some stroke practices for you in a moment actually, just to kind of show you. So again, I'm just grouping all the paint to the middle again because that's where I want the sort of prominent colour to be more than anywhere else. So there we are, and we've got a little 0 paintbrush just here. I thought we could get started with some detail on this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sort of outline each of the petal. Just like this, as you see. just to give it a little definition, but I'm not going to do each side. You'll see what I'm doing in a moment. So this is just to sort of like show each petal and give it a bit of sort of definition. I do apologise for the shaky camera as well. I'm going to hopefully at some point get a little camera sort of clamp for my table, and then we won't have this issue. But for now, just trying to hold it while I do this, because I don't have anything to properly rest it on, so hopefully you don't mind. But yeah, you see how at the moment the flower's sort of taking shape. So we've got, you can add in any detail you want really. So I'm just sort of doing this freehand, this part here, and also just almost from memory, I suppose. I don't even know if this is like a real flower. This is just like a flower that I am sort of showing you that you could give a little go to if you fancy it. So there we are. So we've got the sort of petal kind of shape just there. So what we're going to do now is same colour again, so I don't want to add in any different colours at the moment. Most flowers, they tend to be sort of similar colour, if not just different shades with the stuff there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to basically just do some sort of little lines through the middle of each of the petals. Again, just to sort of give it a little bit of sort of detail and a little bit of kind of, you know, making it look a little bit more sort of like what a sort of flower could look like. Like I said, you can even add in extra petals, so we'll do that here. So we're just going to add in a little extra petal at the back here, like this. When I do this, I tend to try not to go completely up to the other petals. It doesn't matter with watercolours if you have a little bit of sort of almost like white from the paper in the background, where you kind of like leave you know, just little sections and sort of stuff in whatever you're sort of painting. So I'll just do sort of one here. See, like that, that's absolutely fine. I actually think sometimes it actually looks quite nice. So like I said, we're just going to add in another little petal here. What you could do as well, you don't have to add in more petals here, you could add leaves behind, which I'll do on the little yellow flower, just to kind of like show you a different example of sort of what to do. So again, we're just going to add in that other little petal there. Here we go. I think that's looking quite nice actually. So one more to go just behind here. So if you do know if this flower looks like any, let me know. But it's just one I've got in my head today that I thought I would do. And so we've got that there. We're also just going to go in and do the yellow. So I'm just taking the yellow straight from my palette here. I just want it to be quite vibrant in the middle. So I'm just going to take the same brush and we're going to come back across here, and we're just going to start sort of colouring in almost the sort of middle section. So I'm just going to do it in the bit where I've sort of like left clear before, and then when this is dry we're going to go back in with some detail. I'm going to add in maybe some orange flecks, maybe even some black flecks, maybe some brown. Sometimes I find black can be a little harsh on flowers, so maybe we will add in some. Bit more of a sort of orangey tone. I just feel like it needs a little something extra, so I'm just taking a little bit of orange and mixing it in with the yellow colour that I had before, and I'm just gonna literally in the middle section just run it across like that. See, so it's a slightly more prominent sort of like shade that's coming across there. But with flowers you'll see they tend to be the same sort of colour but just different, again don't know what the words is, but different sort of like shades I suppose, different kind of from the sort of colour wheel, you know, it's all sort of similar. but different hues, that's the word I'm trying to think of, different hues of the same sort of colours and shades. But like I said, so I've got a green, which I've already mixed up probably from when I did my leaf one the other day, which I'm just going to use now. But just to find a green, you can either use the green from the palette directly, or you could just mix up a green really, really quickly, which is not hard to do at all. And again, I'm just going to use the same brush. Actually, I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush, I think, for the leaves, which I'm going to do behind. So we're going to go for the number 6, which is this little one there. It's never going to focus, but that one. And yes, we're going to go in with the green. Just get some on the brush. I don't want to have it too wet, so I've just dabbed it on my little bit of kitchen roll there. And then, like I said, so leaves, we're just literally going to pop a few behind here. I'm going to do quite a big one, I've decided. So it's going to sort of start off almost behind the petals that you can see sort of there. And as I said before, like I'm trying not to go too close to my petal because I don't want the colours to sort of merge. So we've got that there, and then we're just gonna, this little extra bit of the leaf coming around there. And then we'll just do another leaf sort of coming out here, again, quite a large one. And again, it's just gonna sort of almost duck underneath the petal there. And yeah, just thought just to show you kind of like how you can do sort of like different things with flowers. And in a moment we will move on to the little yeah, see, I think that's nice. And then I'll just do the sort of stalk. There we go. So just something a little different. Like I said, I'm just gonna go in with the yellow again directly from the actual palette itself for the middle section. Oh, this may be a bit wetter this time around, but that's fine. So we'll just get that sort of on there, and again that's going to dry. And while that's drying, we will just pop back over to this one. So I'm gonna, again, like I said, I'm gonna use orange directly from the palette, but I'm gonna mix it again with that yellow colour, so it's not such a bright, vibrant orange. It's more again, just sort of like in the same sort of like shade, in the same hues. And I'm literally just gonna hold my brush really upright like this, and just sort of almost dab in little kind of spots and blobs, and I'm just gonna like almost let that dry. Just see they're sort of almost like little blobs of watery paint. I'm just doing a couple on the petals as well, just to sort of emphasise, you know, that that's got the sort of middle section. I'm so sorry I forgot what the middle section's called. I have no clue why. But yeah, so we'll leave those two down the bottom at the moment to dry, and we'll just move back up to these two that we've got that we did our double coat on. I'm going to do these ones a little different. So I'm going to find my little tiny brush again in the number 0. Any brushes that you've got really you can use. I just like to sometimes go in with these and use them a little bit smaller when you're doing sort of more detailed type work. I find it a little easier. You can have a little bit more control over sort of what you're doing and stuff. So I do apologise again about the shaky camera. But yeah, so I've got the same colour again, and I'm coming in, and with these ones I've decided, oh, you can't really see what I'm doing, sorry. I'm going to sort of do those same sort of similar kind of shapes that I was doing, sort of coming out from the middle for each of the petals. Just like that. So we'll do those ones a little different this time around. And what I'm going to do as well, once it dries, I'm going to use, I've got like a really nice sort of deep, almost a burgundy red, and I thought that'd look quite nice alongside here, and that's what I'm going to use to sort of outline my flowers this time around. But I'm actually going to outline the whole thing on this one, so a little different to how we were doing it before. So we'll just start here, and like I said, we're just going to outline the whole thing, but not all the flowers. You'll see what I mean in a moment. All the petals, sorry. So I need a bit more water, I think, there. So, like I said, just using it again directly from the palette here. As you can see, I've just added a little more detail sort of into the middle of the flower there. So So with these ones, I'm not going to go fully, so I just need that a bit right to the edges like I did there. Just going to sort of grab just from there, and like I said, just sort of to outline. If you've made any sort of blobby little errors as well, you can just fix it up like this. But yeah, just like I said, it just sort of gives it a little bit of definition, a little bit of sort of, you know, giving it like a defined sort of look there. Do hope you're enjoying my painting class and how I sort of do things. Like I said, I'm no, you know, expert here. It's just kind of the way that I love to paint, and yeah, just thought I'd share kind of Arthur to help you guys if you're suffering and, you know, you want something to help you relax. So there we go. So with the yellow one that we did first, I'm actually going to take that orange again that I've been mixing in with the yellow colour, and I'm going to make sort of like more of a yellowy orange colour to sort of add some detail onto this one, rather than using the same yellow as before, just to change it up a little bit, just to do something a little different. And then, like I said, I'll show you sort of what we're going to do here. So with this one, I'm going to do a little bit of a different thing. So we're just following that same thing round. And with this one, I'm sort of almost doing another layer, but in the orange, but as you can see, I am leaving little gaps. So again, it's just going to change it up a little bit, make it look a little different. Just like that. And I think it just gives a nice little bit of detail to each of the petals. And like I said, just makes it look that little bit more realistic. But like I said, with whenever you do your painting, it's just a sort of expression of sort of like, you know, yourself having fun, really. So just enjoy the moment, you know. Painting's there to help you relax, you know. But there we go. So I quite like that one. So again, we're going to have to leave that to dry. While all these are drying, let's get started on our little wreath. So as you will have seen, because I just sped it up for you, I literally have just drawn some super quick leaves just all around my sort of circle that I've drawn out, ready now for our flowers. So I'm going to use the same colours again. So we've got the pinky purple sort of ready colour that we've been doing, and I'm just in some of the gaps, as you can see, I'm just going to add in a really cute little flower, just like what we've been drawing before, with 5 petals. So obviously we're on a bit of a smaller scale here, so freehand is what I've decided to do. And as you'll see, I don't do the petals right close to each other when I do it smaller. They're all sort of away from each other a little bit like this. And then what you can do while it's still wet is you can sort of almost bring the middle sections together. So there's one, and I'm going to add a really teeny tiny one here. See, again, another different way of doing flowers. There's so much I could teach you, I think. So yeah, just, like I said, it's my way of sort of doing a few different things. So as I said, we'll do the same here. Oh, that one's bleeding onto there, but that's fine. Not the end of the world at all. We'll add one more red one here, I think, and then we'll go in with some yellow ones as well. And don't worry too much if the shapes aren't absolutely perfect, you know, this is just a little bit of fun. So I think that's enough for our red ones. Now I'm going to use the kind of yellowy orange colour. Where I've mixed it up it is the darkest, slightly darker orange now. That's fine, I thought that would still look quite nice. So we will add in one here. And like I said, yeah, it's just nice to have a little play and have a little bit of fun with the flowers, just like that. I'd love it actually if you guys could do a reef and then show me your reefs. So don't be intimidated, you know, just have a little bit of fun. And yeah, I'd love to know. I don't know, I'd like to see kind of what you guys are doing. I'm just going to do one of the really small little ones, almost like a star. This one, see, like that. But because it's small and you know stuff, I thought that would be quite pretty. Another little teeny tiny one there, but I'm just sticking with the sort of 5 that I've got here. Another little thing that you could do, which you know, you sometimes get those like really long sort of leaves and they have the little kind of almost like a bubble sort of flower on them or something. I was thinking that we could maybe just add some sort of here, so we'll just do some little circles against where this flower is, which are totally not circles, but you get the idea. Just to sort of add in, like, you know, that there's another sort of flower there. We can even do it sort of here as well. If you wanted to, you could completely as well, if you are going to do a reef, completely like do the circle in a green colour, almost to show that you've got kind of like the leaves sort of almost going around, and then you can kind of add in all your bits and bobs and stuff. I'm also just going to do, just coming out here, like almost like a sort of reddish leaf. I was thinking that we could just pop here. And like I said, it's just, you know, anything you want to sort of add to your reef, go ahead and do it. We're just having a bit of fun. You know, it's flowers are similar to leaves on their shapes and stuff, and at least that's the way I do it. So you could just like almost, you know, get to grips with sort of doing your leaves and then change the colour up and kind of have a little go that way. Oh, sorry, I meant to get the yellow, but it's fine, I'll just use a bit more of this pinky colour. See, that one I've almost taken off all the paint there where I dabbed it on my little flannel that's next to me, so I'm just going to add a bit more there. And then we'll just add in a bit more yellow, and again we can go in with lots of detail on here, or hardly any detail. It's up to you really how much you kind of want to do. But you see how I'm just sort of changing the shape while it's all still wet, so you can just sort of have a little bit of fun with it, a little bit of kind of play. So there we have it, our little reef, just a really, really quick one. Like I said before, it is just totally up to you how you want to do it and stuff. But yeah, we've just kind of got sort of like a really super quick one there. Some just easy sort of oval shaped leaves, same sort of petal sort of shape and design that I've been showing you before there. And yeah, just sort of like kind of going with it, and you know, got it in the little circle that I drew out before, and to go in and add a little bit of detail to my sort of reddy pink flowers, just in the middle here. Just like I said, it just gives the flowers just a little bit more of a definition. You don't have to do much. But yeah, so like I said, we're just sort of adding in a little bit of detail with the sort of burgundy red, just for our little flowers in here. Also, with the flowers that are in the reef, just because they're on the smaller size, I'm probably not going to add in any of the sort of yellowy bit in the middle. So just think maybe they're a little too small to add in all the detail. Or you can if you want, but I'm not going to at the moment. And I'm just, as you can see, just sort of adding in a bit of definition again to those sort of like, I don't know if these are leaves or flowers, I've not really decided, but they're here, so hopefully it's all looking good. Just change up colour of those ones, not sure if I like them as light as they were. Just like that. And then again, I'm just going to do a few more of those little dots, but darker now, just next to or even on top of what we've sort of already got here. Yeah, maybe on top. Yeah, there you go. And I'm just going to also use a bit of green to just give a little bit of definition again to our leaves. So with today's class, it is just about adding more detail. So with the flowers that we did last week, obviously we had the detail in with the veins and stuff like that, and if you haven't seen that, I will leave it linked below. But with this one, we're just going to add in sort of like little lines almost, just to, like I say, just sort of give a little bit of detail and kind of texture to our flowers and obviously our leaves, because we're just doing our little bit here, but just like that. See, and you don't even have to add much in. See, I'm just literally doing a few different things there just to give it a little bit of sort of definition, structure, texture, whatever you really want to call it. And yeah, I just think it makes your painting just pop a little bit basically, which is quite nice. So the green I'm using should be okay to use on both the shades of green that I have used just here to sort of paint these. My two are so funny. Arthur's really happy, I think, that Miss Phoebe's home. Bless him. So lovely. But yeah, see, as I said, we're just making it pop a bit better. Definitely looks a little better with a bit more detail in. Like I said, I do apologise again for my very, very shaky hand as I'm filming. This one might be a bit too watery, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm just really liking how, like I say, that just sort of gives that a little bit of definition and pop. So we're just going to go in with the yellowy ones, and for this one I am literally just going to go in with the orange again, directly from the palette. It goes quite nicely, I think, with the yellow shade that I've made there. And just add in our sort of detail again. So as you can see where I'm doing the detail here, I'm literally just almost drawing sort of like a little star in the middle of them, and it just gives that sort of little bit extra basically to just make it all just stand out and just look really pretty, I think. And I think as well, like doing it this way, just that's why you don't need to add the sort of yellowy bit in the middle there. But there we go. So that's all of the flowers done for today. So we've got those two that we started off with, that we sort of drew out our own sort of like pencil outline first of all, just to give us a bit of guidance, and then we did 2 layers and added all the sort of detail after. I'll do a few close-up shots in a moment. We're just going to move past our reef for the moment, but we've got these two as well that we did freehand. So we've got the one on the left there, which was again sort of the 5 petals to start off with, and then we added extra petals behind. You can do any shape you want. Obviously I've got the sort of like point on the edge there, but you can round it off if you want. You know, there's loads of different flower shapes out there. Perhaps a daisy could be a good one to start off with. And then over here on the right we've got our little yellow one, so again freehand, and this time we've added in a little leaf behind. So just some sort of different examples of what we've got there. And then lastly we have our little reef, and again just a little bit different. So just quickly added in a few leaves to start off with, just all the way around, left a few gaps for our little flowers to add in, and then slightly different technique, but basically we've just gone in and we've done 1 layer of colour on all of our little flowers, and then we've just sort of gone in with a little bit of detail but no sort of middle part to the flower. But yeah, I really like how that all looks. So I hope you've enjoyed today's class. Like I said, I'll just leave, and the last bit of the video will be just some close-up shots of sort of everything we've done today. But I'd love it again if you could pop your creations and maybe possibly those reefs into our little group. And like I said, the group will all be linked below. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back next week with our 3rd and last class, and we're going to be doing feathers. So yeah, I hope you're excited, because I am. Anyway, bye.